Aria Aroma, Part 2. The legacy continues. Several years have passed after the disappearance incident of Emperor's bright lights and Emperor glowing foam, and the alphas of the light wolves, even the leaders of the darkness foxes, Lord Darktails and Lady Eclipse. But from all the rumors, the offsprings of Light Wolves, Prince Wispbright, become the new emperor, therefore taking his father's place, and the offspring of the Darkness Foxes, Princess Darkness Shadow, became the new queen, thus taking Empress Bright Light and Lady Eclipse Dark. Therefore, she's the first to announce as queen. But the citizens of the forest didn't clearly understand how Corinne considered the fact he was born from a light wolf, a light celestial wolf species, and a darkness fox. Because elemental animals believe that all darkness foxes had an unstable understanding and have taste for domination and destruction, then light wolves have see the brighter side of things to keep the peace and at balance at any time or any case. Then Wisp convinced to the elemental animals that Queen Darkness is not like her parents, because he was the first to encounter her. Plus, he noticed she had emotions and was surprised, because all darkness foxes are soulless and emotionless. The elemental animals believe him, but they still don't completely trust her. Over time of their reign of ruling, the second time in history of birth. First was Light Wolf given birth to a Corinne, but now Queen Darkness giving birth to a female Corinne? But her fur and mane is not like her mother, black and purple, but her father's fur, white, and his mane is punch pink. And their daughter mane is magenta pink. Thus, Queen Darkness was curious what to name her daughter. She thought the name Black Hole, but her husband thought of Aurora. After giving the name of the offspring, thus the elemental animals bowed to the newborn princess. After the newborn princess of the enchanted forest, thus, for the first time and forever, newcomers arrives in the forest. This Chinese serpent dragon, the antonym of the ancient beast, they have a neck of a snake, horns of a stag, ears of a cow, eyes of a cat, a head of a camel, carbs of a carp, and belly of a clam, feet of a bird, and paws of a tiger. And claws of an eagle. The males have whiskers of a coilfish. After the serpents arrive, the male dragon, known as Flame Flare, and his wife, Fire Blaze. But the time of their arrival, Blaze was pregnant. Thus Flame said, "Please, do any of you folks have a medic? She's in labor." Once this was said, ice bunnies brought Blaze to a medical tent. Later of this event, Queen Darkness looked out of the mosaic window. watching the dragons, eyeing them as her curiosity and bitter hate grows from the fact of her daughter look more like her husband and the fact she lost her parents. As the queen watches, Emperor Wisp was messaged by a groundhog. Majesty, a couple of dragon arrived, but the female gave birth to a child. Reports from the groundhog. Really? I must meet this couple and this miracle child of ancient ancestors, said the Emperor Wisp. When Queen Darkness was unsatisfied, she left the window. Meanwhile, the Emperor went to the medical tent to meet Fireblaze, quarreling her baby. As Blaze cleaned her child, she looked up at the Emperor. She was clearly surprised. The Emperor said, I see you are surprised to see a alicorn who ruled the high skies and this forest. Then Blaze replied, Yes, I am. But years old ago, there were species known as light wolves and darkness foxes. The wolves kept balance and tranquility of the land. The darkness fox, the foxes bring darkness and hatred towards the forest. But after the battle, they disappeared, and the fact that the light wolves gave birth to a alicorn is absolutely surprising. Respecting my apologies of asking, where you two came from, asked the Emperor. Then Blaze replied, with the other side of the enchanted forest, and the magic forest, where a mountain barrier separate the enchanted forest and the magic forest. After the Emperor question been answered, he had another question. What's the name of the child? And Blaze replied, Great Flame. Weeks later passed, and the Emperor thought it would be a good idea for Aurora to meet Flame. So the Emperor brought Aurora to the dragon couple to stay. As Whips and Flare spoke and had a little chat, Blaze roared out for his son. Flame. At the time this was happening, when he was learning how to fly. When Flame looked at Aurora and they locked eyes to each other, Aurora knew from then and there this was her first ever friend. So while Emperor Wisp and Flare chatting, and Aurora and Flame was playing, but then the playtime was soon cut short when Aurora's mother dived in with her dark magic, posing a threat to Flame. From her unsettling presence, as she appeared the very first time to the offspring, she asked, "What do you think you're doing by playing with my daughter? If I see you ever play with my daughter again, I will strip your flames away." As Queen Darkness threatened poor Flame, Aroma came over to her mother to explain they were just playing, but her mother yelled, "Don't butt in, or you want your friend Flames to be stripped away, and your gift will be diminished." Right before she could finish her insult, she was soon cut off from "Honey?" Darkness turned to see Wisp appeared into the scene. My dear, they were just playing, Darkness said. Just playing, as Wisp continued by saying, Yes, playing. As this was confirmed, the cold queen disappeared unsatisfied and disgusted from the unacceptable answer. When she was gone, Flora was surprised to see a living and last species of the darkness foxes, but Flora warned the emperor of her presence as he sent a dark aura around her. From the warning, he was aware of her power, and from this warning, he decided to train Aurora to how to defend herself with her magic. Then the emperor also brought Flora to teach her how to do combat. After Flora taught Aurora how to fight, and from her father taught her how to produce magic. For the emperor, he even learned a new spell as well. He knows how to shapeshift into a dragon form. This, the Queen Darkness, didn't like the fact her daughter was being tampered with a dragon, as her spoiled heart and cold emotions grew and became one. Her insanity, as she is sane, her head and her body even began to twitch, and her upper proportion of her face began to darken. Even her eyes, as her sane took form, her upper body began to hunch. Thus, she began to open her jaw to reveal either side of her mouth began to melt, and the holes started to appear. Then when the brutal transformation commenced, she earned a pair of bat wings. As the transformation began to settle, the reason as darkness foxes changed their form from their insanity. The reason why the darkness foxes change because from their insanity. Because they are pride and envy and malicious and power greed creatures that have unstable issues. As her beastly form to change to her usual regular form, even her jaw was different. Her teeth was on each side of her lower jaw, sticking up over her upper lip like a crocodile. Darkness began to flew out of her chamber, as she went through the bricks and vines of the castle. She wasn't seen with any scratches or scars. Thus, she grew the ability of invincibility. As she was high in the sky, she let out an horrific, monstrous roar. As her roar has been heard, the animals was alarmed. Even the dragons were alerted. As Flora seen the result of darkness' true power that she once willed, but they never showed it. As she was finished her roar, she began to use her dark power to affect the cloud and the atmosphere. Even lavender mists began to spread across the land when the catastrophe continued. The ancient cherry blossom tree began to glow, Even the ancient stone, known as the guardian stone, began to glow. The tree and stone's significance is to alert or alarm the light guardians, the Kirin or wolves, that darkness taking effect. As this began, Flare let Wisp know, "No, Majesty, this is the full power of an extinction species. They are very lovesick, even obsessive. They will not stop at nothing to conquer, but conquer." The Emperor replied, "I know, but I know she still has soft spot in her burning heart, even if she's driven mad with power." From the Emperor's words, he flew into action as Blaze watched over Princess Aroma and Grey Flame.